Well, before the question, I just have a few announcements to make. One of them is that I have to have this eye procedure tomorrow morning. And once I get that, it's impossible for me to do this class. I mean, the irritation and anyway, but it's an essential thing I have to do. So there won't be a class tomorrow. There will be a class on Wednesday. Second thing is I've started to do in-person classes here. And, every Saturday I'm having a class. And, most of you don't live around where I live, but if you happen to be thinking of coming to this neighborhood, there is a class going on every Saturday. If I get a bunch of people that are interested, I will have classes 2 or 3 times a week. But right now, it's just going to be on Saturday. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask? I mean, all my life, I've had ashrams and places for people to come and classes going on. I mean, COVID and everything else that's happened makes it very difficult to do that now. So, I have to deal with what I have to deal with. And God bless, I don't know, my life is getting simpler and I really like it. I used to have a very complicated life. And it keeps getting simpler and simpler and more loving and more open and more in the service of God and less in the service of economics and money and all of the other stuff I used to do in order to get through the day. Does anyone have a question? Yes. Nina. I can't hear you. You have to turn on You're muted, dear. 1 second.
There we are.
Okay.
Stuart.
What this is here. But...
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
When we are falling in love or having our hearts broken.
I can hear you, but you got to speak a little more clearly.
When we are falling in love or having our hearts broken, how do we stay centered?
Well, I mean, look, you fall in love with somebody, you spend time with them, you become their partner in some way, their sexual stuff, etc. You live part of your life with that person. And instead of letting your heart be broken, just think and be grateful for the amount of time you spent with them, what you learned from them, what they taught you about yourself, and you don't have to go through all that melodrama and soap opera. Spend time. This person was in your life. This person taught you something about you, and if the situation, the cycle comes to an end, then be grateful for the time you spent with them. I mean, and you won't go through this melodrama. I mean, there's no loss, there's just change. There's no loss, there's just rebirth. I mean, yesterday this is very interesting because I got an email about somebody who was very dear in my life. I hadn't seen them in 20 years, but they were very dear in my life. I mean, not a relationship, but they were just a good student, a friend, a person I really liked, very light and wonderful human being. And I got an email that she had like 3 days to live. Can I come and maybe spend some time with her, helping her to make the transition? And I hadn't seen this person in 20 years, over 20 years. So I went, and it was extraordinary, And she was in the class today. Her presence was very strong in the class today. So there's no loss. There's just transition. There's just change. is just rebirth. There's just an opportunity to grow. And when you think about that person, don't think about somebody who's breaking your heart. Think about somebody who you gave your heart to and you loved, and you learned something about love, and you learned something about loss. In order to live, we got to know about loss because there's so much loss. I mean, somebody transitioned yesterday, and I went there and did my inner work with them and created an environment and a vibration that helped her make the transition. So, we don't lose, we gain. We only lose if we're insecure and we're clinging to life and we think that we deserve something. I mean, cycles come to an end. What we learn, we learn. And then you have to be big enough inside to be grateful for whatever you went through and to move on without allowing yourself to get caught up in some, afternoon soap opera about your heart being broken, et cetera, et cetera. It's just drama, and it's just a sign that you really want to kill yourself. You don't want to say thank you to the person for the time you spent with them and whatever you learned, and now it's time to move on.
Thank you, Stuart.
Now, to do this, you have to be really strong inside, I mean, this person she died today at 2:00 in the afternoon. I was very close with this person. I loved her. She was a very dear person in my life. And yet I hadn't seen her. It must have been over 20 years. Her and, and another, her partner, both of them. And I went in there and the partner was a completely different human being, extraordinary. She had grown so much. I couldn't believe it. And it was dealing with the death of this person that transformed her partner. It gave birth to her partner. Extraordinary. I couldn't believe it. I looked at her. I said, my God, you're wonderful. I don't remember you being like this. So there's no loss. Loss is bullshit, It's just being immature, having no training, and clinging to somebody and all this crap, that creates daytime drama on television, But what did you learn? How did you grow? And then gratitude fills that big empty spot where we feel lost. Does anyone else have I have to put my glasses on. I know there's something here that Anyway, does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? I mean, let me explain something very clearly. This year is going to be really powerful. This year, there's going to be gain, there's going to be loss, there's going to be, it's going to be I don't know, I can't remember the first 6 days of any year that I've had to deal with the kinds of situations I've had to deal with this year. I don't know what's going on in your lives, but my God, anything that happens, somebody farts in Japan and I have the smell here in New York, it's just extraordinary, and the whole, last beginning of the year, it's been one drama after the other that's being dropped in my lap. How to turn all of this stuff into my spiritual growth. And it works. It's, this whole situation came out of nowhere that happened yesterday. And I'm going to tell you that this is going to be a really powerful year. It's a year that's going to really enable people to grow more, probably than all the other years of their life. It's going to be extremely powerful time. Growth, but loss too. and growth and cycles fulfilling themselves and giving us the opportunity to truly be reborn inside ourselves, to truly become children of God. And I hope that everyone takes the opportunity to learn this, to grow in this. Because most of you, you come to class, you don't come to class, you miss a week, you miss 3 days. I always say it, I'm the only one who's in every class. Because I know I need this meditation in order to deal with the kind of stuff that's going to take place this year. Yes, I won't be in class tomorrow, but I would rather be in class than have this eye injection, trust me. So I think it's a time to truly cherish Rudy's work, Shakti, the energy, and to make it an important element in one's life. Because I don't know what else can give one the strength to deal with the kinds of energies that we're going to have to deal with this year. And I'm not trying to scare you all. I'm just trying to say, hey, life has endless situations that we have to deal with. We need the energy and the strength to be able to deal with it. God allows these classes to take place on Zoom. 3 years ago, I had no idea what Zoom was. I had no idea. And suddenly here I am teaching people. Literally in the other class, I have people there from 4 continents, that are coming to the class. It's extraordinary. From South America, from the Middle East, Asia, from, Europe, from the United States. It's unbelievable. And I am grateful for this because I need this kind of growth that will enable me to deal with the kind of things that are taking place. And I can't take it for granted. This person who died today, I hadn't seen her in 20 years, more than 20 years. And then the next time I see her, I have to go there to help her make a transition and to move into, another realm of consciousness. That in itself is a lesson. Does anyone have a question? And look, I just love you all, and I'm just so grateful that every one of you are in my life. I mean that. You all are my teacher. You all are making it possible for me to get closer and closer to God. Your presence here does nothing but help me to grow, and I just have nothing but gratitude for it. And that gratitude is an essential ingredient. I have this Tantra stuff going on my website. And the last one that I wrote, I have 8, I think, or 7 that I'm ready to put there, but they go 1 a week. But the last one is about gratitude and love and the heart chakra, and God, it just to write, to feel that kind of stuff coming out of me was so extraordinary. And being in these classes has opened that channel for me inside my heart. Does anyone else have a question? I don't know how many of you read those things, but I am just enjoying writing them. And it's kind of a level of writing that I never knew before. Just writing from the heart, writing from a place that is really profound inside. Does anyone, I think at some point when I have 50 or 60 of these things, maybe 100, I'll make a book out of them, you know. It'd be a very nice book. And also the art. I mean, my God, you know. Wish I had that collection in my house, frankly. Just extraordinary stuff. In the Metropolitan Museum, in the Guimet, I found one Tonka that I sold to the Brooklyn Museum years ago, which I'm going to post on my website on that Tantra stuff. Very beautiful Tonka, early 13th century Tonka. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, so the next class will be on Wednesday. God bless you all. Thank you for being in my life. And I hope that we can truly build something extraordinary in this new year. I really do. And by extraordinary, I don't mean, you know, look, I don't mean, I mean independent and unique connections of each and every human being with God. That to me is extraordinary. I don't need ashrams anymore. I don't need all that stuff. Although I would like to get some kind of center that people can come to and we can have classes. But that'll come. Does anyone else have a question I would like to ask? Okay, God bless you all. There'll be a class Wednesday. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart.
Have a good procedure.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
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 Night.